Brothers and sisters, what's good, man? Yo, it's a sad day. This is one of the last videos that I'm going to record with this bass. I literally just sold it to a good brother in Dallas. Yeah, man, time to kind of thin the herd, switch some things up a little bit. I'm going to miss this bass. But some of you guys may know that back last summer, I was out on tour, man, and something happened with my back. It was a short tour, but twisted my back up, and yeah, so you know, things are a little bit more delicate than they used to be, at least for the time being. So, you know, the 5 strings on stage are gonna have to, you know, ease up a little bit. So anyway, that's my little sad sob story. Let's get into this. Today is Walking Bass Wednesday. So we did a couple of patterns over the last couple of weeks. Now I want to add 2 measure patterns, okay? That's the way I look at walking bass lines. You know, it's like everything seems to be, you know, there's a lot of patterns. So one of the things that really helped me, particularly when I was going to school late in life, was, you know, getting some patterns under my fingers that I could just use, some digital patterns, right? So today the pattern, the 2 measure pattern that I want to show you is going to look like this. So let's say I'm going to do it on a C major. It's going to be 1, 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, 4, 3. And I'm going to do 1, but you can actually do a chromatic note above or below to whatever target you're going to. So for instance, let me show you that same thing on F, right? So just 1, 3, 4, chromatic. If I'm going back to C, I can go, because our blues is that we've been playing over the last couple of weeks is in C. This is going to work with all keys. This is what I mean. Let me show you. So let's say I take one of those patterns that we did over the last couple of weeks. No, I'm tripping. Because we're in C. Here's our 2 measure pattern. Okay, that's what my target was, going to F. Now, suppose I wanted to change the way that I approach that F. I could go a chromatic note above that or a chromatic note below that. Here's what I mean. That time I went a chromatic note above F. Let me do it again, but I'll go a chromatic note above F here. So I'll go. Okay, a little bit more of an awkward jump, but still feasible. How about if I go a chromatic note below that F? See, the F is the target. That's where we're going from the C chord. So let me do that again. Right into our F. We're going to just plug that same 2 measure pattern into F. Okay, let me call out what the chords are for this C blues so you understand what I'm talking about. Got 1 measure of C7, 1 measure of F7, 2 measures of C7, 2 measures of F7, 2 measures of C7, and then we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to do a 2-5. Instead of going 5 to 4, we're going to go 2-5. So we're going to go D minor 7, G7, C7, and then G7 on the last couple bars. I should probably edit that in and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so P. C7, 2 bars. See that it did? Now we're at 2. Let me explain that. Okay, so on that 2-5, now that's a common 2-5 walking pattern. You hear that all the time. If I'm in the key of C, 2, walking up to 5. So here's the 2 chord, D minor. That note is now, if I'm looking at that mode, first note of the mode, second note of the mode. That's what I mean. So 1, 2, 3, sharp 3, walking us right into that G7. Peep this too. You see how my fingers is like this? I used to play upright in college, and my mic lull is a long bass. I'm saying all that to say that just because you see me doing this, don't feel like you have to do that. That's just kind of a habit that I have. Again, from playing upright, when I did play upright, this is sort of an upright thing, and but don't feel like you have to be holding on to the neck like that. You should probably be doing something like this. You feel me? I just want to make that clear. Crystal clear. So, here we go. C7. I'm sorry. C. What was one of the patterns? What was it? 1653 was the thing we did last week? 2-measure pattern. Well, I'm gonna walk up to G. And then walk back to C. You dig? So let's talk about the last 4 bars real quick. That's a turnaround. There's a little bit, that turnaround gets a little bit more sophisticated, and I'll talk about that later. But for right now, we're going 2, 5, 1, 5. Okay, so we're going from the 2nd chord of the scale to the 4th note of the 4th chord of the scale to the 1st chord of the scale to the 5th chord of the scale. It's going to look like this. All right, you can put that anywhere. Okay, let's say you were in the key of B flat. You could do this. You dig? Now, a lot of times you'll hear also 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. And I'll explain that in more detail later on, but just a preview, peep this. What was that? 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. And all I did was use chromatic approaches to each chord tone. I mean, to each chord target. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to wrap up right now. And yeah, so all the content here is free all the time. So if you want to support the channel and get down, that's going down here, go over to neckjeck.com and neckjeck.com. Pick up one of these t-shirts or one of the Gruv t-shirts. This t-shirt is cool, I think, because it's got all of Prince's bass players on it. And yeah, man, I will see you guys next week. Peace. 2 fingers.